What's up? Raven5678 here, and welcome back to another DBD video. And today we're just gonna be chatting. Alright, more specifically, we're gonna be chatting about something that I am personally a little bit more hyped for than the upcoming chapter, only because I know of it way more than the upcoming killer, and that is, of course, The Walking Dead. I don't have any personal issues with Five Nights at Freddy's or anything of the sort. It's just that even though Five Nights at Freddy pretty much started blasting out just as I was becoming a teenager, I never really got into it. The gameplay of it, where you're just sitting down and watching cameras, wasn't really my thing. So I never enjoyed it. But after it got announced for Dead by Daylight, I started to get myself familiar with the franchise, and now I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And Springtrap Man is freaking freaky, dude. Okay, I love his voice lines and everything like that. And as I've said from the PTB, I think he's okay. I honestly don't think I'm gonna be playing him that much personally. But hey, man, you know what? I mean, somebody else is out there gonna go out there and find him more fun than I am, and that's awesome. People love Skull Merchant a lot. Probably not current Skull Merchant, but they did when she came out. And hey, you know what, we all got our different taste and stuff like that. So anyways, to get to it though, I'm only just gonna talk about the upcoming mid-chapter patch, or what we used to call it back in my day, the paragraphs. And this time, unfortunately, I would have rather have a whole chapter where is, Rick and Michonne and a killer, ideally Negan. But honestly, what kind of power they give Negan, I don't know. And if they wanted to go get Negan, who else would have been the killer? I don't know. Maybe the governor or something. But I feel like if the governor was a killer, they would just have to give him an assault rifle and make him work sort of like Trickster and the Huntress, or Trickster and Deathslinger. But I don't know. That sounds pretty hard. And again, going around literally machine gunning survivors in the back. Well, they've already tried something like that. If you don't know who I'm talking about, look up Machine Gun Huntress, back in the old days of DBD when Tinkerer worked completely different, and you know what I mean. But anyways, it's pretty much confirmed that we're getting The Walking Dead, more specifically the ones who live, and so we're obviously gonna have to be getting Rick and Michonne as both survivors. And again, man, I'm just excited because The Walking Dead is something that I grew up on, and having Rick into Dead by Daylight has always been something that I personally wanted in DBD. Now, a couple months ago, I made a video talking about licenses that I would like to see that nobody really is talking about. And that was kind of the whole point, is that, I've seen a couple videos and I got the ideas off of some other people, and they were basically talking about licenses that they would like to see in Dead by Daylight. But usually it would pretty much be the same answer that a lot of other people are already talking about. So I didn't even wanted to mention The Walking Dead in that video, but I did mention Darth Vader, which is actually kind of funny because Matthew Cote, the game director of Dead by Daylight, or whatever he's supposed to be, the head dude of Dead by Daylight, apparently it was in talk with Disney, talking about bringing Darth Vader into DBD, and I actually mentioned Darth Vader coming into Dead by Daylight. And so yeah, personally, I would love to see Darth Vader in Dead by Daylight. It just kind of makes sense. From the outside perspective, yeah, Star Wars isn't horror, but if you ever read any of the things that Darth Vader does, this man literally goes around strangling random people on the street, killing kids, and blowing up entire planet. That's fucking metal, dude, and that's pretty freaky, especially if you've ever seen the ending of Rogue One, where all you can hear, in the darkness is his breathing, and out of nowhere, he just flicks his lightsaber on and just starts murdering dudes in the hallway. Dude, it is the most badass Vader scene I've ever seen. But yeah, anyway, we're not here to talk about Vader, we're talking about Rick and Michonne, of course, because that's the other. Because as far as I know, we're getting 2 survivors. I don't think it's gonna be one survivor slot and then 2 different characters, similar to what they did in the D&D chapter. So what one question that we always got to ask ourselves is, what kind of perks are they going to bring to the table? And I have a feeling that we're going to at least get 1, 2, or maybe even 3 perks that are going to be quite absolutely busted, because when it comes to these half chapters, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on the devs to kind of balance out what kind of perks to bring on the table and how does it fit the character. Because you got to think about it, survivors are just cosmetics at the end of the day. They all do the same thing. They all pretty much move the same way, besides having the male and female variation of the models and stuff like that. But some of them obviously have voice lines and different cosmetics, and that's what separates them from each other, and backstories too. But perks, on the other hand, too, are what you would buy a survivor for with real money. And obviously this is going to be licensed chapters, so they have to kind of convince you to be like, okay, you want this perk, you want that perk too, you gotta buy the chapter with real money, because behavior is a business at the end of the day. That's how they make money. So anyways, I was kind of thinking, like, for Rick, maybe a perk that expresses his leadership. I don't know, I mean, we literally have a perk called leader in DBD, so I don't know what else they could do, but maybe like a morale booster or a stat booster. I don't freaking know, man. Like I said, there's over 100 perks in Dead by Daylight right now, like 100 survivor perks in Dead by Daylight. So sorry, I just burped, but I don't know how much more we can get. But I was kind of thinking too that they should definitely add some sort of perk that also expresses his offensive capabilities, because Rick is a monster. Like, let me get this straight, man. If you don't know what The Walking Dead is, dude, Rick is not a good guy. He lost that ego in like season 1, okay, or season 2 really, and he just becomes a survivor, and he kills a lot of people, a lot of zombies, but a lot of people too, and for the most part they're justified. There is a time, spoiler alert, when he sneaks into a building and kills a bunch of dudes who were sleeping, but that's because they were part of a rival faction that everybody kept telling them that they're scared of, blah 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 blah. But anyway, I was kind of thinking something stupid like if you stun the killer with the pallet, they get stunned for like 3% longer or 4% longer or something. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound that much for only being like 3%, but I can kind of see it being a little broken. I don't know. It's just something that, again, kind of expresses his more aggressive fighting nature. And then for Michonne, I feel like they definitely should make a perk where it helps her track survivors easier. Now, again, we got bond, we got empathetic connection and empathy, all these perks that shows the aura of survivors anyway. So I'm not quite sure what they would do, but like, she literally, in The Ones Who Live, goes like halfway across the country to find Rick. So she's a tracker. She knows how to find people. And I feel like there should be a perk that expresses that. Also, another perk that would be kind of cool to express who she is something like that makes her a survivalist. And I mean something that kind of relates to when the very first time we see her with 2 zombies behind her with no arms or teeth. So because they don't have any way to spread the infection, so they don't go after her, and she can blend into a horde of other zombies or walkers, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, I mean, that's freaking smart, dude, because that's not something that I've ever seen in the zombie media, like, ever before The Walking Dead came around. So, but anyways, and then of course, last thing to talk about too is what kind of cosmetics are we gonna get. It really depends on what or like when the entity takes Rick and Michonne. Is it going to be in the beginning? So Michonne is going to have that like armor, samurai, that hockey mask or what kind of mask that she had on. And then Rick is going to have the black armor, or actually the jacket. Or is it going to be halfway through where they both have the black armor, or is it going to be near the end when they don't have any armor, they're just wearing like regular people clothes. I don't know. I feel like though, at least for Rick, they should at least have some sort of way to make his, like, give us his more classic look, you know, with the button down shirt and the black pants and cowboy boots, because that's like his most iconic look. That or the sheriff outfit, which I think will be super awesome. Yeah, man, I mean, hey, I know they only got the ones who live, but that kind of also comes down to what are we gonna get in the Rift Pass? Because I heard a slight rumor, and I just heard this once, so there's nothing confirmed obviously, but like, what if the Rift Pass that is coming up is Walking Dead themed? So yeah, like, what if we're gonna get more skin for Rick and Michonne? Or hey, even better, what if we get like legendary skins where they change the character, and like when you buy the Rift Pass, you get Daryl, so you can switch Rick out and play as Daryl. That would make money, dude. Like, Daryl is, if not Rick, Daryl is arguably the most popular character in the Walking Dead franchise, or at least the name is most recognizable out of the Walking Dead franchise. And then yeah, and then like Michonne can have Carol, and then like at the end of the Rift Pass, what if they have Dead City? So you know, instead of playing Rick or Daryl, you play as Negan. Like, that would be insane, bro, because Negan is like my favorite villain of all time, or one of them anyway. But obviously it's gonna be Dead City, so it's gonna be when he's a good guy. And then for Michonne and Carol, it will be Maggie. So I don't know, man. There's so many possibilities, and again, I'm just a little bit more excited, and I kind of treat this as a nice birthday present for Behavior. I don't know when they're going to be releasing, but it's going to be right around, it's going to be in July as far as I remember. So yeah, it'll be a nice monthly birthday present. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here, because again, I mean, it's a Survivor talk. It's not like Killer, where we can talk about what kind of powers they can have, and you know, like add-on yada yada yada. So yeah, so that's all I have to say. But I'm really excited for the Walking Dead chapter, and yeah, that's all I got. So thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.